Hey you guys, welcome back to Alleyways, or if it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and if you haven't already, please take a moment to join the Alleyways family, subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on post notifications, not only so you know when I have new content, but also so I can include you in my subscriber shout out. This is my way of thanking you guys for being just like the best group of people that exist on the internet and bringing me so much happiness and joy. I'm really excited for today's video because we are going to be making Minnie ears, and so it's going to be a little bit vloggy and a little bit tutorial-y. I think we just made those words up, but right now we are going to run some errands and pick up the supplies that we're going to need for our Minnie ears. So let's get going. Okay, we're on our way to Walmart to get the supplies we don't have yet. We are going to be doing ears that you sew. There are some really great no-sew tutorials that I will have links to in the description box down below. But the materials that you're going to need to make your ears are going to be cardboard, batting, a pattern, a headband, and fabric. That's all that you're going to need. And at home we already have cardboard, we already printed off our pattern. I'll have a link to the pattern that we used in the description box down below so you can print it off and use it as well. And then we have obviously everything that we need to sew everything up and batting. Now we just need a headband and some fabric, and I'm super excited to pick out fabric. We're going to do one kind of traditional pair, and then I think one that is a little different depending on what fabric we need. I would love to have an all pink pair, but it just depends on the fabric that they have available. So let's get in there and see. I detoured to the ice cream and oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I have to go some other places after this, otherwise I would definitely get those, but I feel like with as hot as it is here today, they would melt before I got home. But if you guys have tried those and you think they're good, let me know in the comment section down below, because I will make a special trip out here for that. Guys, there's not a ton of choices actually. There's some really neat ones, but not exactly like what I was envisioning. But we have a couple options that might work. It's one of those things like, you know, when you get something in your head, then it's like you're so stuck on that. But let's see what we can find. Just found this one that is 2 yards for $2, and it's this pink kind of silky looking fabric. I love this, so let's definitely get this for our non-traditional pair. Decisions were made, so I'm gonna go with this black kind of sparkly fabric for the ear, and then this red lame for the classic mini bow. And this will be it for our traditional pair, so let's go get some of this cut to take home. Cut a 1/4 yard of each of the fabrics that I showed y'all, and altogether it's only $2.23. So you really can't do cheaper than that, and I really think a 1/4 yard is going to be plenty to cut it. The associate that was helping me was actually telling me that they sell Minnie ears here, and so I'm gonna go try and find them. She said they're in party supplies, so I can show you guys the ones they sell here in case you don't want to DIY but you're looking for a place to get them that's not in the parks or on the ship. Right, so here are the ones that they have. They're actually really cute, guys. They're kind of unicorn, ombre, pastel-y, and they're only $5.47. So that's really good actually. Guys, here's like the exact pair we're doing for $4.97. Wow, there's a ton here. There's 4th of July. There's these that light up. There are some kind of like just two-sided sequin red. I ended up going to Dollar Tree and finding this 6-pack of headbands in tons of cute colors. And so for our pink ones, I'm just going to be using these and not covering them. And then for the black headband, I actually did have one here at the house that I'm not going to cover either, just plain black. But I think this is great, this pack from Dollar Tree, because look, you could do Elsa ears, you could do Tinkerbell ears, Rapunzel ears, Belle ears, just traditional Minnie, and even this would look good with our black and red pair. So yeah, check out Dollar Tree. All these were $1, and I think that whenever I did get this headband, it was like $6. So, good way to save. All right, I've got our ear cutting line lined up on our sparkly fabric. What I'm going to do is trace this pattern with chalk, and then we'll cut it out with our fabric scissors. We have all of our ears traced, and now we are going to use the very sacred, very special sewing scissors. If you guys do any crafts, you know these are only to be used on fabric, but people always want to use them for other things because they're so nice and sharp. All right, let's cut these out. Here's our first one completely cut out. 3 more to go. Of course, you know you have to have 2 pieces for each ear, front and back. Let's get the other ones cut out. That is all 4 pieces cut. So now we're going to move on to sewing. So we'll jump into that in a little more detail. So now we're going to cut batting around the shape of the ear. The batting that we have rolls out and is super thick. It's not just kind of like loose cotton. So we're going to cut that in the shape of the ear just so it's nice and tidy whenever we go to assemble everything. Now we have everything ready and lined up. We're going to go sew our ears together, 2 sides of 1 ear. We're going to use this ear sewing line as a guide. And you guys make sure that whenever you're sewing them together, of course, turn the pieces inside out, stitch like that, and then when it's done, you'll flip it so you won't see the seam as much, and then the correct side of your fabric will be facing outward. So the sewing machine gave up a little bit on us. Here is the second ear. And I just stuffed the batting that we cut in there, and I'm just folding the ear closed along the seam like this and sewing it by hand. So it's going to be a little bit rugged, but that's okay. The places that I was sewing by hand on the outside of the ear that got a little lumpy, I just tried to push batting around to even it out. And then now I'm just going to close up the seam, and then we'll be ready to glue these on and move on to our bow. So here is our first ear all stuffed and ready to go on the headband. I'm getting really excited now. It is bow time, my favorite time. So I am going to cut a piece of fabric that is about 11 inches this way and 6 or 6.5 inches this way. I'm sorry that these are just kind of estimates and approximations, but this is the dimension both ways. I used a piece of paper as guide because you guys know this is 8.5 by 11, I think. And so, yeah, so just leave about 2 inches off the width, and then we're going to cut all the way across, and then I'll show you the next step. Now that we have our piece cut, you can either hot glue in this step or you can sew. It just depends on what you would like to do. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our piece and we're going to fold it in half long ways. Make sure it's really nice and lined up. And we are going to stitch this open end right here. Once we do that, we're going to close up the ends here with a stitch. You could also just hot glue it here and here. Then, once that's all stitched up, we're going to fold it, and we're going to run a stitch through here. You could also just hot glue everything down. And then we're going to pinch everything together, and you guys can see we're going to have an adorable bow. You're going to need one more thing to complete your bow, and all you're going to do is take a little bit of your fabric, you don't even have to measure, and cut a little piece of ribbon that then you can tie to pinch this together and really kind of finish off, because you guys can see on the ears that you get that are Disney brand, there's a little piece of ribbon in the middle that cinches everything. So we'll just cut that and then tie it on there, and then we'll have our bow. I'm gonna go get this sewn up. If you want to, hot glue yours, and then we will have to assemble everything. So we'll have to glue our ears onto the headband and our bow into the middle. We've got our outer edge stitched. Now we're gonna stitch the middle. And then this is the size of piece that we cut for the middle. I don't have an estimation. Mom, do you have an estimation on the dimensions?
It looks like it's about 6 by, and maybe an inch we folded in half.
Yeah, so that for the middle, but
two.
You guys can do it just by sight. Now we're going to tuck the ends into each other on this, and then we're going to run a stitch through the middle, which we're not going to worry about seeing because it's going to be covered by this. And we're doing this with the pink for the pink pair that I'm making, but we're going to do the exact same process for the red bow on the traditional pair too. Yeah, okay, I was just saying off camera, look how beautiful that stitch is. Mom, you killed it. And this is the reason that I actually chose to do sewing. Even with the ears, everything just looks cleaner to me. Not hating on any no-sew tutorials. This is just my personal preference. I think it makes it look more like what you get in the park because everything is just a bit cleaner. You don't have to have that piping around the edge that when you glue two sides of an ear together to cover up that stitch, I don't know, it looks more authentic to me. And that is a beautiful, beautiful stitch. So now we have our two pieces to our bow together, and I'm going to use hot glue to assemble this because there's not actually a way to sew this. So what we're going to do, Mom's going to help me since I'm filming, we're going to pinch the bow into a style that we think looks good. And keep in mind, you can always use your pair of ears as a reference, and then we're going to kind of glue that together once the hot glue gets going. And then we're going to wrap that middle piece that we cut around it to help keep it in place and look great on the front. Glue that down, and then we'll be done. All there will be left to do will be to kind of fluff the bow after. So we did one glue dot in the center to get the first piece of the middle portion down. Now we're going to put another glue dot on top of the fabric that we just glued down. Pull that middle over. That's going to create the really nice pleat that we want. That is signature with the mini bow. And just hold that, let it dry. Then we will cut off the excess that we see here. We'll get our sewing scissors and just cut that. And then turn our bow over and make adjustments. Now we're going to take that end and just hot glue that under so it's nice and tidy, since you probably will be able to see that from the back side. Now I'm going to repeat the same process that we did with the pink fabric with this red. This is actually already the height of a piece of paper, and I went ahead and cut a notch right here. I don't know, I'm blocking it from you guys. Right here at where I estimate about 6 or so inches would be, and I'll just lay this here to kind of follow a straight edge somewhat. Like we said, it's going to be folded up, so it's not going to matter as much. And we're using the raw end of the fabric because we're going to fold that under into the bow, so it won't matter if you see that. And we're just going to stitch this one up the same as we did our pink. We'll cut a little middle piece, and then we will assemble that bow in the same fashion. So pinching it in the middle, tying our small piece around the center to really pleat it, and then gluing it all together. Then I'm going to show you guys a shot of all of our pieces that we've created and how we're going to assemble them. Now we are going to assemble our ears, and this is when having a reference pair of ears comes in really handy. So, and that is for placement. So you really want to make sure that you're placing your ears at the right side and the right point on your headband. So I'm going to use this pair that we got at Walmart as a reference, and I'll pick you guys up so you can see. because I loved how these looked on. I tried it on. I was totally comfortable with the ear placement. And then I'm going to lay that over top and get a rough idea. My ears need to go about here and here. Once you get your placement, you're going to put hot glue on to where you want the ear to be and then stick this down. So I'm just going to double check roughly one more time the ear placement, and that looks really good to me. One thing I want to point out to you guys, Disney, let's see if I can get close enough for y'all to see. Come on camera, you can do it. There's hot glue. I'll zoom in. Hot glue here where they glued the bow down. You can see a little hot glue here where they glued the ear down. And then on the front of the ears, they've actually glued the bow here. You can see the hot glue really well at this point, to the front of the ears to keep them kind of in place. So we're going to do the same thing. Let's go assemble them. So again, just make sure you've got your ears lined up how you want. To me, this looks good because we do need to leave some room for our big bow. So now I'm going to take our hot glue gun, mark the area where the first ear starts, and pipe some glue on there. And really make sure we get it squished down in there. And if there's any areas that you see that just need more, so I need a little right here, go back and pipe that in. So we've got our first ear. I'm just holding it down to make sure that glue really activates. And at this point, you probably just want to do a little check. So you can just do kind of a mock-up, so to speak. And to me, that does look really good. So I'm happy with the placement, so I don't need to compensate with the other ear. Now I'm going to get the other ear glued on in the same way, and I'll come back for us to do the bow. This is the front of our bow. We're going to stick that down and really squish it. Make sure both sides of the ribbon come forward. There are our ears. Here's our first pair, at least our pink pair. I love how these came out. I think they're adorable. Now let's go to our other pair. And here is our traditional pair done. I put more glue on this bow because for whatever reason the ears were wanting to move a bit more, so I anchored them with just a little bit more hot glue to the bow to provide some more structure. But I love how these came out. I think they came out adorably. It was super easy. It could be even easier if you just wanted to use hot glue for everything, but I'm going to do a final shot to show you guys. Here's our traditional pair, here's our pink pair, and here was our template. So let me know which you guys prefer. As always, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm gonna get everything cleaned up from this craft, and then we're gonna shout out some subscribers. Okay everybody, that is it for today's video. Here is one of the finished products on. Let me know which pair you liked better, if you want to see me do any kind of specialty ones in the future, or if you wanted to see a more simplified tutorial that involved absolutely no sewing. That's something that we can definitely do. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to John from Canada and also Anna. You guys both appeared on the channel recently and have shown me so much love and so support. John, you've left so many kind comments and I've been watching so many videos, and I just want to say thank you. That is so sweet of you. I appreciate it so much. And then Anna, you and I met recently on the Black Truffle Pasta per Sets premiere, and you were so involved and just so sweet, and I just want to say I love you both. I love all you guys. You have no idea how much I look forward to getting on these premieres, getting to talk with everybody, chatting with you guys in the comments, and just having you guys as friends. You guys make my life so much better, and I hope that I do the same for you. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you next time right here on Alleyways. Bye!